Have you ever thought about where your recyclables go after they have been thrown out? Well, we visited the Sims Municipal Recycling Facility to find out what happens to all of the materials that get recycled in the Big Apple. We talked to Sam Silver, Education and Outreach Coordinator at Sims, and he shared how the process of sorting our recyclables works.
I'm Sam Silver. I run the outreach and education programs here at the Sims Municipal Recycling Center in Brooklyn. We sort through all of New York City's glass, metal, and plastic here in Brooklyn and New Jersey as well to figure out what's in that recycling and how can we send that along so it can become something new at a different facility. We receive about 700 to 800 tons of recyclables from the city every single day. So we're receiving recyclables in on trucks and on barges from all across the city, all 5 boroughs. Our first goal is just to get all of that material off of the trucks and off of the barges into a big cavernous space that we call the tipping floor. On the tipping floor, you'll see front-end loaders scooping piles of recycling, cranes and material handlers scooping recyclables from barges, just offloading it so that way those trucks and vehicles can be back on their way. Then we're pushing all of the recyclables into the first conveyor. All the material is going to go up that first conveyor and then drop down through a slow-speed shredder. This is going to open up those plastic bags that most of the recycling is still inside, as well as disentangle some of the trickier items that might be there. We've got an entire 2.5-mile conveyor system attached with various machines, all dedicated to sorting out different materials from one another. Then all the recycling continues through the process. It all hits a disc screen, which are rotating rods that shake and vibrate, and what they do is break up glass. All the glass gets broken, falls through the gaps between the screens, everything else continues on. Then we've got a giant drum magnet. So this is a magnet inside a rotating drum that's going to pull out tin cans, wire hangers, pots and pans, and it's large enough to pick up refrigerator doors. That metal is going to stick to the drum, get carried over, and then drop off on the other side. We actually sort through that metal by size using just simple sort of size screens to figure out, is this something that we can compress here on site into a cube, or do we need to send that out to get shredded? Then all of your plastics and cartons and whatever else is left travel through ballistic separators. That sorts out 2D things from 3D things. So that's where we're going to remove any paper that was accidentally placed in the plastic bin. We're also going to remove plastic bags as well, because they lie flat. Then we've got a mix of 3-dimensional plastics and cartons, as well as some aluminum foil that's left. And to sort out all of those, we use optical sorting cameras. We have 16 optical sorting cameras here, each one programmed to identify different plastics based on the type of plastic that they're made out of. So we're looking at water and soda bottles, milk jugs and detergent bottles, takeout containers. Those are all going to be different numbers of plastics that the cameras can identify. When a camera sees something that it's looking for, it actually triggers out a jet of air to shoot that one item out from everything else. This can happen 10,000 times a minute, so it's really accurate and very, very state-of-the-art. Once all of our plastics have been separated out into categories 1, 2, 5, and so on, we've got some aluminum that's left. We shoot out the aluminum using eddy currents, which is kind of like a reverse magnet. It's going to repel the aluminum out and get it separated. Finally, everything goes through a quality control booth. So instead of having hundreds of people sorting everything out by hand, we have about 14 people right at the end of the process looking through to make sure that the machines did their job correctly. We usually find that there's a few percent still left to sort through, and that's where sorting by hand really works well. After we've sorted out by hand, everything drops down into its own bunker. There's 14 categories that we've sorted into. Each one gets released one at a time, goes into a baler, which compresses items into blocks that we call bales. And then those bales get stacked up in our bale storage area to get sold and shipped out to begin a new life. Unfortunately, about 10 to 15% of what people put out for recycling shouldn't have gone in the recycling bin in the first place. It's trash. So we have to sort through that and remove it from the rest of the recyclables that we do want here. We sell every different type of bale, whether it's a type of plastic or aluminum or cartons, to different processing facilities. These facilities can take an entire compressed cube of plastic bottles, chop it up, melt it down, and actually generate the raw ingredient to make it into something new, which are called pellets. We have about 20% of our power coming from renewable energy in the form of the city's first commercial scale wind turbine, as well as an enormous solar panel installation on one of our buildings. We're managing all of the stormwater here to make sure there's no flooding on site, filled with native plants as well. And the way that things get here on site is very green as well. Most recyclables come in on a single barge rather than hundreds and hundreds of trucks. So you save a lot of energy, a lot of fuel, as well as a lot of traffic that way. And recycling by itself is inherently green. It's all about saving resources and saving energy. I think one of the most surprising things working here at this facility is that people actually have been recycling more and more every single year. We've been open about 4 years, and in that time, we've actually seen more and more recycling come through here that New York City residents and schools are putting out for recycling. We've also seen more and more visitors every single year, so I'm really encouraged to see how much interest there is in dealing with the things that we throw away a little bit better.
In the city that never sleeps, Sims is using engineering techniques to ensure that trash gets turned into something new, playing a vital role in helping New York City mitigate climate change, preserving our environment today for the city of tomorrow. Cait Foster reporting for PBS Student Reporting Labs in New York City.